Battle Through the Heavens. Chapter 154. The Cursed Awakening of the Legendary Woeful Poison Body. The shadow of a lethal bond lingers under the relentless glare, where the scent of toxin mingles with sacrifice. Silence thickens as the soul abandons the path of easy strength, pouring every breath into the singular hunger of a violet spark. Upon this scorched stone, the heart endures the crucible, refining a flame that seeks to transcend its limits.
Days bled into weeks in the quiet valley. Half a month had passed since Xianxia last refined the purple flame. During this time, he nearly abandoned his Dou Qi training. Every bit of energy he poured into his body went straight into the core of the purple flame. Under this constant, frantic pressure, the results were undeniable. What started as a flicker the size of a finger was now dozens of times larger. Seeing the flame grow filled him with a fierce satisfaction. At this rate, he would have enough energy to evolve his mantra in another 2 weeks.
Xianxia sat cross-legged on a boulder under the blistering sun. Sweat soaked through his clothes. He stayed there for 2 hours until the heat began to fade. He opened his eyes and shook his head at his damp shirt. He stood up and stretched. The purple flame had grown again. He moved to the edge of the cliff and leaped. 2 weeks of isolation had darkened his skin. His face looked harder, more disciplined. He landed softly and held out his hand. He flicked his fingers, and a heavy mass of purple fire erupted. It wrapped his entire palm in a blazing glove. Before, it was just a spark. Now, it covered his hand completely. He grinned and clenched his fist. He threw a punch into the empty air. The heat was so intense, it warped the space in front of him.
If this hits a man, it will leave a mark,
he thought. He played with the flame for a moment longer before drawing it back into his body. His back twitched, and the purple cloud wings snapped open. He looked at the black and purple wings and dived back into the valley. Wind roared in his ears. 20 meters from the ground, he banked hard. He used a burst of force from his palm against the earth to kill his momentum. He flipped through the air, his wings dissolving into tattoos on his spine as he touched down. He walked toward the grass hut, his brow furrowed. Usually, little fairy doctor was back from gathering herbs by now. The silence felt wrong. He reached the hut and knocked. No answer. He knocked again, harder. Still nothing. A knot of unease tightened in his chest. He stood at the door for a long moment, then kicked it off its hinges. He rushed inside. A thick, acrid fog filled the room. He coughed and waved his hand, using a blast of air to clear the smoke out the door. As the fog thinned, he saw little fairy doctor on the bed. Her eyes were shut tight. Her face was pale, pulsing with a sickly rainbow-colored light. She didn't seem to be breathing. Xianxia panicked. He reached for her, but a shadow flickered from his black ring.
Stop!
Yao Lao barked. The shout rang in Xiaoyan's ears like a thunderclap. He froze.
Touch her, and you are dead,
Yao Lao said. His face was grim as he stared at the girl.
What is happening to her?
Zhao Yan asked.
Yao Lao didn't answer. He floated around the bed, inspecting her. He sighed and shook his head.
It is as I feared.
Xiaoyan's heart hammered against his ribs.
What is it?
Look at her hand.
Xiaoyan saw a small pouch of black powder in her palm. He leaned in and caught a whiff of the scent. His head spun instantly. His stomach turned. He fell back, retched on the floor for a long time, and stood up with a ghostly pale face.
That is pure poison.
Xiaoyan gasped.
Even a Dou Qi would die if they weren't careful.
Yes, she has a terrifying talent for creating these things.
Yao Lao said. There was a strange note of respect in his voice. Xiaoyan nodded bitterly. He already knew she was gifted with toxins. Maybe Little Poison Doctor was a better name for her.
Now look at her mouth.
Xiaoyan looked at her red lips. There was black residue on them. It was the same powder from the pouch.
She swallowed it?
Xiaoyan whispered.
Why would she kill herself?
She isn't killing herself.
Yao Lao said, rolling his eyes.
Have you ever seen a corpse look that vibrant?
But she is only a one-star doge. How could she survive something that kills a Dou Qi?
If she were a normal person, she would be dead. But she is not.
Xiaoyan stopped pacing.
What does that mean? Is it because she's a poison master? Even they aren't immune to their own toxins.
Most aren't.
Yao Lao agreed.
But there is an exception. In this world, there is a very rare constitution. It is called the Woeful poison body. To have it is to be a living disaster.
Xiaoyan stared at him, confused.
You have lived in Wutan City too long. Years ago, there was a woman with this body. She got angry once. She turned an entire empire into a toxic wasteland. Hundreds of thousands of people died.
Xiaoyan's breath hitched.
That's a slaughter.
She broke every rule the strong have. Powerful men went to hunt her down. Dou Ling, Dou Huang, even a 9-star Dou Huang near the level of a Dou Zong. They all died by her hand.
Xiaoyan swallowed hard. This woman sounded like a monster.
In the end, a hidden master came out. They fought a battle that shook the earth. The woman was a 5-star Dou Huang then. She was wounded and fled. The master, a Dou Zong, spent 10 years just purging her poison from his system before he recovered.
Xiaoyan's throat felt dry.
A Dou Huang fought a Dou Zong and left a scar that lasted a decade.
20 years later, she came back as a Dou Zong herself. That old master didn't even dare to speak her name. He just looked the other way.
To go from Dou Huang to Dou Zong in 20 years?
Xiaoyan said, shaking his head.
That's insane.
She was a genius.
Yao Lao said. His eyes drifted to Little Fairy Doctor. Later, I ran into her. We fought over a rare medicinal herb. Xiaoyan's eyes widened. This was the first time Yao Lao had mentioned his own past.
Who won?
Yao Lao smiled, a distant look of nostalgia in his eyes.
Let's just say I was a hair better than her,
he said.
Xiaoyan stood there, stunned.
Yao Lao said,